Good morning, I'm Tamara Shoemaker. My husband and I enjoyed the show called Parenthood a few years back when it first came out. And since it had been a while, and it had been several years since we had watched it the first time, we couldn't remember much of it. So we started to go through it again, work our way through it again. So in one recent episode where we had just gotten back to Zeke Braverman, who is the family's patriarch, he purchases this car that's just basically a junk heap. And as he stands in his driveway and he's waving directions toward the truck the truck driver to back it towards his garage, his wife Camille sees what's happening and she runs outside and she's like, "What's going on?" She demands an explanation. And Zeke grins. He says, "I'm going to fix it up." So the Story family, the Bravermans, they have decent money, right? Likely if Zeke had wanted a new car to tool around in during his retirement years, it wouldn't really have been a huge problem. But he buys the junk car. And then in the ensuing episodes, we see him bonding with one of his grandsons as the two of them clean their car parts and they remake the engines. It's a sweet story. But anyway, why does he buy an unfinished car? And I thought maybe it's because he gets the joy of wrestling with the gift, right? In order to invest in the final product. That car is going to mean a whole lot more to him in the end because of the struggle in the middle, right? So this morning I was going to stick with Joshua 16. But Joshua 16 only detailed the land distribution to the tribe of Ephraim. And it didn't feel right leaving poor Manasseh out in the cold. So I read Joshua chapter 17 as well. So here's a quick review about Ephraim and Manasseh in case you aren't real familiar with their beginnings. Jacob is the grandson of Abraham who gets the original promise from the Lord that he's going to be given the promised land. So after Joshua leads the nation of Israel into the promised land and they conquer most of it, right, they have to, apportion it out among the 12 tribes. The thing is, the tribe of Joseph is now divided into two tribes because Jacob adopted Joseph's two sons as his own just before his death. So when Jacob spoke his final blessing over Joseph's sons, he significantly crossed his hands and laid his right hand on Ephraim, the youngest head, and his left hand on Manasseh, who was the oldest. And so just as he, Jacob the younger, had inherited the oldest blessing in place of his brother Esau, so Ephraim now inherits the oldest blessing in place of his brother Manasseh. So how does that work out? 12 tribes, 12 apportionments. How does Joseph get 2 apportionments? The tribe of the Levites are the official priesthood among the 12 tribes of Israel. And because they get their apportionment from the Lord, that leaves only 11 sons of Jacob, unless one of the tribes is split in 2, which is exactly what happens. It's confusing, I know, but that's as quick as I can make it. So anyway, in Joshua chapter 16, the tribe of Ephraim is assigned land and they move in. Technically, both Ephraim and Manasseh move in to this new land that they've been given. But in Joshua chapter 17, we read about a little bit of sibling rivalry, not between actual Ephraim and Manasseh, who are long dead, but their descendants. So Joshua 17:14 says, "The people of Joseph, both Ephraim and Manasseh, said to Joshua, 'Why have you given us only one allotment and one portion for an inheritance? We are a numerous people, and the Lord has blessed us abundantly.'" They need some elbow room, right? It reminds me of when my brother and I used to kind of rib each other in the back seat of the car. Poke, 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 poke. Until one of my brother's pokes actually hurt and I'd yell, and my mom's hand of doom would reach around from the front seat and seek out one of our knees. And when that hand of doom appeared, right, you better know that you've got to move your knee, because if that hand of doom got hold of your knee, little pokes from your brother, like little bunny kisses. So anyway, poke, poke, poke. Ephraim and Manasseh, they need to be separated. They become too numerous, too many people filling up a smallish area of land. So Joshua tells them, "You are numerous and very powerful. You will have not only one allotment, but the forested hill country as well. Clear it, and its farthest limits will be yours. Though the Canaanites have iron chariots, and though they are strong, you can drive them out." Joshua 17:17-18. So here's what I was thinking. Ephraim gets the already cleared land, the already built cities, and the already built towns. They've conquered the territory, and they've moved in, right? Manasseh is right there with them, but there's just so many of them for the current construction. So Joshua tells Manasseh to clear the forest. Work for what you've got. Wrestle with the gift, all for the sake of investing in the final product. And I'm not saying that Ephraim didn't appreciate their land as much as Manasseh finally did theirs, but the pattern of wrestling with the gift, utilizing the object, is something that we all recognize, right? So for instance, for Christmas a few years back, I received a bow, a recurve bow, and a set of arrows. Love archery. But anyway, hands down the best gift ever. I love it. I still do. I don't hunt, but I love to target shoot. I just think it's fun. So anyway, that bow would be perfectly useless without the arrows. It would be a trophy maybe to hang on the wall, but you couldn't do much else with it. The arrows, similarly, aren't much good for anything else without the bow. You could maybe use them as marshmallow sticks. I don't know. But put together the bow with the arrows and you get the joy of archery, the pull of the bow and the release of the arrows. So here's the actual best gift ever beyond recurve bow and arrows. It's even better than those. The best gift ever is the free gift of salvation. We are given it freely, but unless we live in it and wrestle with it and use it and work with it, we miss out on so much of the joy that accompanies it. Paul reminds us of that in Philippians chapter 2, verses 12 and 13. He says, "Therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, now not only in my presence, but now much more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, for it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his good purpose." And we just went through the entire book of James, right, which pairs faith with deeds. In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. That's James 2:17. So, with that in mind, clear your land that you've already been given. Wrestle with the gift that's already in your hands. Pair together the gift with the work. There's something about the work of the hands, right, that brings the greatest joy. David points to the work of God's hands in Psalm chapter 8. "When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you've set in place, what is man that you are mindful of him, the son of man that you care for him?" But because he loves us, because he made us the work of his hands, and he, as a result, crowned us with glory and honor. That's Psalm 8:5. Hope that blesses you today. Think about wrestling with the gift that you've been given. Think about how you can just use it and work with it. Make it greater, expand exponentially what Jesus has put in your heart to share to others. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.